On 29th of November 2011, myself and James left Ireland for Patagonia in the south of America, in Chile. And we were going in to climb the central tower in the Torres del Paine National Park.
Since I was a kid, all I ever wanted to do is climb mountains, you know, and be in the mountains. I think that's the place where I feel the most relaxed. You're going into places where you're totally on your own and you're self-sufficient. And I think that's what I like about it.
You just get a sense of isolation. It's always an adventure and you do a lot of exploration, and it's exciting as well as fairly daunting.
Most mountains, when you look at them from afar, they seem quite impenetrable, but as you get closer, you start to see the line up it and stuff like that. And I like the idea of being able to have the skills and being fit to climb something like that.
We just spent a few hours looking around and taking in the landscape and the environment, and it was pretty amazing to be actually there after close to a year of planning and thinking about it. We were finally in the valley and we could see for ourselves the peak that we were about to climb.
We would have woke up at about 1 o'clock in the morning. At about 1:30 in the morning, we would have commenced to walk. So you just basically, you know, you're pretty psyched. So you're walking at a serious pace. We probably started climbing with the ropes at about 5 o'clock in the morning. It was very cold. And it was a bit of nerves as well, you know, because myself and Rhys hadn't really climbed much together. So there's an unknown there, you know, and you're about to do something very challenging for me, like, so I led off and started climbing.
James got up to where he'd finished the first block and I took over. So I was kind of gung-hoing it and just going for it and not really paying attention to the actual route.
I could see, you know, that he was probably going the wrong way, but I didn't really want to say anything because he was just climbing away and you don't want to be arguing or stuff like that.
I got up to where I assumed I was finished, and I clipped into, there's pitons. I looked at them and I just clipped into them, and then I called James up and told him that I was ready to follow me up.
I got up to near where Rhys was on the belay. I seen the way that we were meant to go, which was out to the right, which was a pretty handy ledge, whereas Rhys had taken himself quite a challenging way. I think sometimes you just like to climb.
From where I was, we'd need to drop down and traverse across and then go back up to where the corner system, the hard sections actually started.
I decided I'll down climb instead, so I climbed back down and then I basically made the traverse and clipped into the pegs.
I was unable to see James over my right shoulder, so I had to constantly look over my left shoulder, and I was putting more and more stress on the anchor system. And all of a sudden I just heard this like ping, 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 and at the blink of an eye I was kind of hurtling horizontally down the side of the cliff.
So all I could really do was, at the time, I just grabbed the rope in this hand and just grabbed onto the cliff and just wrapped my foot around the piece of rock and just held it like that. All
of a sudden I stopped and I could hear James, who couldn't see what was going on, shouting down and asking, Rhys, you know, what's going on, basically.
So basically I'm just hanging on and I'm holding Rhys's weight and I'm just kind of like, oh, you know, and I don't know what he's like, so I'm kind of just shouting at him because I need him to get the weight off, you know.
I looked at my wrists and there was a lot of blood, but they were just cuts.
Brought Rhys up and kind of looked him over. He was a bit shaken. I was a bit shaken and a bit like pissed off, I suppose, is the only way that we ended up in that situation. So we decided to bail from there, so we abseiled back down.
It's worth noting that if James hadn't down climbed, if he'd put his weight and with my weight already on that anchor, neither of us would be standing here.
I was ready to go home, you know, because I just thought that Rhys was insane. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I was ready to go home as well. I didn't want to climb that again. You know, I was in a lot of shock and I'd scared the hell out of myself and made a mistake that could have potentially not just killed myself but killed somebody else. I still wanted to do the climb, and I knew that James wanted to do it. I just didn't know whether he'd want to do it with me. You know, I hadn't got all that much experience climbing in these mountains. I'd done a little bit in the Alps, but in reality this was a totally different thing.
I rang up a few guys I would have climbed with a lot and just talked to them about it, and they said that we should go back. So after I talked to them, I was happy enough to go back. I felt a lot more confident this time because we talked it out. I started to lead again. So I led all the pitches I led beforehand, and then I did the one that Rhys fell off on to get us into the crux area. I wanted to do those pitches just to make sure that we got to the next stage.
He got there, he clipped in, then I followed him up and I got to that corner and we passed that point, and it was a psychological boost, you know. There was a noticeable difference. We kind of went, we haven't gotten to the top, but we've made it past a big obstacle, you know, something that kind of knocked us. I got through the crook section, my hand touched the sun for the first time. I was like, right, that's amazing. And then got up there and James followed us up, and then from that point onwards, we just started to really enjoy it. We just went through the crook sections, and I have to say, I hated the fuck out of it, and I ain't apologising. It was terrifying. The exposure up here is incroyable. The views and everything else, pretty incredible. I was like looking at it, I was like, right, James, we're at the top, man. We're at the top. He came up and we were sort of like, okay, all right, this is exciting, it could be it.
Pulled over, boom, and then we were on the top. We were just like, oh, you know, sorted. I have to say, it was just absolutely fantastic. I mean, really light winds, you know, the sun was shining.
It was absolutely amazing. It was definitely the most gratifying summit I'd ever been on.
It's pretty friggin' awesome up here, man.
It's been an incredible journey getting here. I mean, we've been planning this for a year, and it took us 2 attempts to get to the top.
Yeah.
2 attempts. One of them almost ended fatally for at least one of us, if not 2 of us.
Yeah.
So
it's good to be here.
It's good to be at the top. But I am really looking forward to getting back there.